Julie and the Rotary Club of Volcano for having us here today. To give you a little background on myself personally, I was born and raised in Kona, and I come from a family of ranchers and farmers. My dad was one of 8 children. He is of Hawaiian and Portuguese ancestry. And my mom was 100% Filipino, my late mom. She passed away from breast cancer about 14 years ago. I attended public schools and graduated from Konawana High School in 1970. I'm married for 37 years to my husband, Russell. We have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. I was fortunate, being born and raised here, to grow up, work, and raise my family in my hometown, which is probably the dream of a lot of people here, to have their children remain home and be able to work. I lived that dream, and I was also very fortunate to earn a paralegal certificate from UH-Yale in 1996 and have a 30-year paralegal experience working for local law firms in Kona. I also did 5 years community service with the Legal Aid Society of Hawaii in Kona, and I was an advocate for our senior citizens and our Social Security disability population. And my district with the legal aid encompassed about the same district lines as District 6. I also currently have 9 years experience on the county council. I served as Angel Palago's ledge assistant for 2 of his terms, and also part of Kelly Greenwell's term. In that role, I have learned a lot about how government works, how government doesn't work, and how government should work. I grew up in the 50s, so I know firsthand. I've experienced the changes to our social and cultural landscape of this island, not only Kona. And my life's work has been helping our community to protect our natural and cultural resources, to maintain our rural lifestyle and culture, and to preserve and protect our Native Hawaiian traditional and customary practices, which is directly tied to our natural resources. We depend on that for our existence. So that's where my passion has been for the last 30, 40 years. As a citizen, I involve myself in land use issues that held government's feet to the fire. And I say that because I personally filed lawsuits, participated in contested case hearings where government were sidestepping legal processes in order to accomplish certain things. So in 1990, I stopped the dredging at Maile Cove of a marina because they did not have the necessary environmental impact statements prepared before they sent it down to the county. In 1993, I filed an injunction in the 3rd Circuit Court to stop dredging of Hualalai Resort's shoreline. They were going to propose 3 huge swimming pools, natural swimming pools, on that valuable resource of a reef. They did all that construction during the weekend, so no one could do anything about it. Monday morning, I filed an injunction, and that project was stopped. 2 of the swimming holes were not completed because of the injunction, and the shoreline is not protected. In 1995, I was involved in the Passion Palago Supreme Court case, and that was a landmark decision for Native Hawaiian access and gathering rights and standing of Native Hawaiians in the process, in governmental processes to preserve and protect our resources. In 1996, 1 year later, I was a party to a lawsuit contested case hearing in the Land Use Commission state, where we asserted the same things in a 1,000-acre development down in Kopulehu, this side of Kiholo. And our position was they have to determine impact. Our government has to determine by the Constitution how a development will impact our resources and our traditional rights. In 1996, the LUC denied our case, and we appealed. In 2000, the Supreme Court ruled in our favor and affirmed the fact that government agencies by Constitution has to protect and determine the impacts before they do anything, before they approve anything. And out of that, the Cultural Impact Statement was born. It's Act 50, which is a companion to an Environmental Impact Statement. And in 2004, this is my personal best, I was a party to a contested case hearing that basically saved the sacred cultural integrity of Keakealani-Wahine Sacred Complex down on Li'i Drive. It is one of its kind in the world. And they were proposing a 7-story condominium project right in the center of it. And that I negotiated with the mayor at that time, Mayor Kim, and the state. And they both contributed $600,000 each to buy that piece of property from the landowner. Save that. What's my point of all this? My point is, I have been personally involved in protecting our natural and cultural resources. Environment is very important to me as a Native Hawaiian. And then, where I'm coming to is that these cases that I have personally given my life work to, out of that evolved the CDP process, because the people of this community, of any community, must be the ones to determine how they wish their community to look like, where they want development, where they don't want development. And that's why I believe that the CDP is a very important process, because it's a process by the people. So my job, or the next job, as a legislator, we have to consider not only environmental issues, we have to consider everything else that this island has to deal with. That's our job. So the next important step I see is to integrate and implement the CDPs from each district and implement and into our planning process. That's the dream that I visioned 20 years ago when I had to, and close friends of mine had to get into the faces of government to make them realize that there are things that they're responsible to do, and they need to do it. I have, as a legislative assistant, I've established the Kailua Village Business Improvement District, a water improvement district in Kalaua, created the Windward and Leeward Planning Commission. I wrote the bills for these. I established a ban on GMO kalo and coffee. I wrote that too. And I'm currently working on our sewer improvement district in Kailua. That's because we're getting fined by the EPA because we're still on gang cesspools in a certain area in Kailua. In closing, I really believe District 6 needs an advocate who understands the rural culture of the district. And I can relate personally firsthand, because I've lived this. I've lived here. I've seen all the changes, and most importantly, I think, I've involved myself to try to affect change. For me, this is like a natural progression for me before I leave. I would like to know that I did everything that I could do for my community, and more so for my people. This is the area, and this would be the venue that I can do that in. And I would appreciate your confidence in me and allowing me to do that. And I don't, in a comment about taking money from unions, you know, the unions have a role. They have a reputation also, but I look at unions as protecting the workforce of our community. Regardless whether people have ill feelings about unions, a person can be bought if they allow themselves to be bought. And my history will demonstrate that I go by what is legally right and morally just for me. And I'd appreciate your support. Mahalo.